Online game, I possess a monster merging simulator. Chapter 131, Dragon Commander, Walter. After entering the ravine, the surrounding atmosphere suddenly became quiet. At the bottom of this pitch-black abyss, there was no sound, nor did any creatures appear. This place was like a purgatory of the human world. It was filled with strangeness. Lorne summoned his pets again. With his companions by his side, the atmosphere in the abyss was no longer as tense. 10 minutes. Half an hour later. An hour later. Lorne made his way deeper into the abyss, but there was no end to it other than darkness. To be honest, if not for the fact that the dragon compass had been guiding him, he would not have been able to explore so far in a dark place. A few minutes later, Lorne turned into a cave. The next second, he was shocked. The cave was filled with brilliant light. The surrounding walls were embedded with various colored night pearls. The light was also emitted from their bodies. Damn, these should be gems. They will definitely be worth a lot of money. Lorne looked greedily at the gems around him and could not help but dig with his dagger, but the walls were harder than he had expected. No matter how hard he tried, he could not dig out any of the gems from the walls. It seemed that this was only a map effect and not a resource that could be taken away. Sigh. Lorne sighed. He continued forward, but there were still too many gems in front of him. However, after walking for so long, he did not see any monsters. This was too strange. In the past, there should have been undead monsters wandering in such caves. Why was there nothing today? Curious, Lorne explored deeper. When he spent more than 10 minutes reaching the deepest part of the cave, his pupils dilated again. In that incomparably huge cave, there was a living black dragon. Unlike the undead dragon, this dragon had a body of its own. It was not a skeleton, but a real body made of flesh and blood. At this moment, a system notification sounded. Ding! Congratulations on discovering the hidden nest of the dragon, Walter. This is a living dragon. Lorne was shocked. One had to know that 1,000 years had passed since the huge war. 1,000 years. This dragon was still alive. Lorne suspected that, to his knowledge, even if dragons were the strongest creatures, they did not have such a long life. Like the elves who claimed to have longevity, dragons lived between 200 and 500 years. As for the 1,000-year-old dragon, other than the Dragon of Light in the Church of Light, there were no other dragons with such a record. With doubts in his heart, he slowly walked up and opened the other party's attributes panel when he was close enough. Dragon Commander Walter. Quality. Status, extremely weak. Level. HP, 500,000/500,000. Physical attack. Physical defense. Magic defense. Skills, Dragon's Claw, Dragon's Breath, Steel Bone Wing, Dragon Stomp, Dragon's Bite, Dragon Scale Armor. Introduction. The dragon, Walter, is one of the 4 dragon commanders under the Dragon of Light. In the mythical war 1,000 years ago, he was severely injured and could no longer move. He prepared a grave for himself, but when he was about to die, he was corroded by the power of the undead, causing him to gradually become an undead. Fortunately, Walter's will had been resisting, so he did not completely demonize. Good Lord, it was indeed Walter. Moreover, the guy's identity was beyond his expectations. It turned out that he was not an ordinary dragon leader, but one of the 4 dragon commanders under the Dragon of Light. Such an identity was extremely noble. As the dragon who was closest to light, it was a great insult to his former glory to be able to survive underground because of the undead power. But Walter could not die, for once his will slackened, the power of chaos would occupy his body, turning him into a dark minion. This is a little troublesome. Lorne felt that it was difficult, but he did not feel completely hopeless. Although Walter relied on the power of the undead to survive, he was also weakened by the corrosion of the undead. From the interface that only had 500,000 health points, it could be seen that his other attributes were very limited. Therefore, now was the best opportunity to kill him. If Lorne missed this opportunity, it would be difficult for him to defeat the other party in the future. At this critical moment, he received another private message in his friend list. "Brother Tyrant, what are you doing?" Without the influence of Bloodthirsty, Twinkle Rose was in a very good mood. "Kissing a dragon," Lorne casually replied. The following battle was definitely very challenging. He hoped that the other party's level was not too high. Otherwise, it was impossible to obtain victory with just these pets who were not even level 30. "You're pretty hardcore." Twinkle Rose smiled as she typed a message and sent it. "Is it because you've been alone for too long?" "Yes, I'm a 30-year-old virgin waiting for your liberation." Tisk, tisk, tisk. On the other side, Twinkle Rose smiled widely and continued, "How can a bad guy like you be a virgin? I don't believe it. Quick, let me see what kind of monster you are fighting. This scene is too scary. It's not suitable for children. I'm no longer a child. Moreover, you're not really doing something shameful with a dragon. There's nothing inappropriate about it." Twinkle Rose cursed. This time, Lorne did not reply. Instead, he sent a screenshot of the boss. The next second, the big busted sister was stunned. After a while, she replied, "That's sick." Sick? It was true. After all, he was only a level 30 player. The opponent in front of him was a living adult dragon. Lorne first memorized the surrounding terrain, then commanded small artillery to test the other party's level. An arrow transformed into a black meteor that instantly struck the dragon's head. Ding! The sound was like hitting hard iron. To his surprise, the attack dealt 405 damage. This meant that the dragon's level was not high. Moreover, it could break through armor and defense. With these two conditions, there was definitely hope of killing it. With that in mind, Lorne's confidence increased. Just as he was about to launch an all-out attack, the dragon, Walter, opened its eyes after being attacked. Its pupils, as large as water tanks, stared at Lorne. Chapter 132, An Intense Battle. "Puny mortal, you have intruded into the territory of the dragons." The dragon, Walter, had a weak voice, but he was not like the other dragons, who would attack the intruders in a frenzy. It slowly raised its huge head and looked at Lorne in surprise. "I did not expect to sense such a thick dark aura on you. It seems that you are also a fallen human. In that case, mortal, are you willing to follow the great dragon leader, Walter?" Ding! Game announcement: Dragon Commander Walter has invited you to be his servant and is willing to give you a large amount of rewards. Do you agree? Game announcement: Dragon Commander Walter has been demonized. If you agree to the invitation, you will automatically become a player of the Dark Faction. Please make a careful decision. What? I'm here to kill you, but you want to take me as your underling. Lorne rejected him directly. "Dragon Walter, I will obey the will of the Dragon of Light to free you fallen dragon souls. If you want to leave this damned place, you'd better cooperate." At this moment, Walter still had some self-awareness. Of course, Lorne wanted to antagonize this demonized body. Only then would he have a chance to kill this powerful demonized dragon. "Small mortal, do you think you can defeat the dragon? Ha 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 ha, how laughable." Walter no longer pretended. Due to the corrosion of 1,000 years, this undead body had already given birth to a new intelligence. What controlled the body now was the demonized dragon. As soon as he finished speaking, terrifying flames spewed out of the huge dragon mouth. Dragon's breath. Due to the huge size of the dragon, the range of this skill was also astonishingly large. Almost 100 yards were covered by the surging flames. Fortunately, Lorne kept his distance from the other party. Otherwise, it would have been difficult for him to block this skill alone. Aisha, small artillery, attack. Rimuru, venom, and long-tongue bat will resist and interfere. Lorne quickly gave the order to fight. All the pets had their own missions, but little spider ran beside him. It could not be helped. Its level was too low to join such a battlefield. On the battlefield, small artillery relied on the advantage of long-range attacks to attack the boss first. Its attack power was not low. Coupled with its level reaching 27, the level suppression effect was smaller than others, so the damage dealt was also very impressive. As for Aisha, she had already arrived beside the boss. The sharp blade in her hand quickly turned. Phantom Backstab. Phantom Combo Plus. She quickly activated her skills, and a net of blades instantly appeared in the air. Under the cold light, the sharp blades quickly cut through the dragon's body. -1555. -5500. Critical. -2193. -2193. -2193. Under the barrage of Aisha, who had 5500 attack, the dragon's health points decreased very quickly. From the damage numbers floating above the boss's head, Lorne could tell that its level was not high, only around level 30. However, its defense should not be low. According to the data on the combat panel, the dragon's defense should be around 2000 points. This was a very high defense. If it were other players, they might not even be able to deal damage to this boss. Unfortunately, in Aisha's hands, these defenses were useless. Mortal, you are infuriating the great dragon. The demonized dragon roared and flapped its wings, but because it had not flown for too long, and with the interference of Walter, its flying ability was greatly limited. The huge wings that were flapping did not allow the demonized dragon to fly. It only gave it faster speed. At this moment, Aisha's slow dagger skill displayed its might. The slowed dragon could not cross a few hundred yards with its wings alone, so Lorne did not have to worry about his safety. Even if the other party charged at him while enduring the attacks, Lorne still had a way to escape. Angel's Descent. Lorne's 3 times flying speed gave him the ability to quickly pull away. At the same time, he controlled Rimuru to interfere, causing the boss to tire out between the two. Dragon's Breath. Dragon Stomp. Dragon's Tail. The demonized dragon circled the cave, chasing after the enemies that attacked it. Unfortunately, in its weakened state, its movements were too slow. It could not deal a fatal blow to the enemy. After all, Aisha was an elf herself, so she was born with an agility bonus. Coupled with the fact that Lorne had always added points to agility, it was obvious how fast she was now with the boost of her master's movement speed. Almost every time, she would dodge before the dragon's attack landed. On the other hand, due to its size, the dragon could not move freely in this slightly narrow cave. It could not even sprint at full speed. -1531. -5800. Critical. -2077. -2077. -2077. Aisha's dagger slashed crazily on the dragon. She was the main damage dealer on the battlefield. With a high attack of 5500 plus, she was the only way to deal a huge blow to the boss. Under her attacks, the demonized dragon's health kept decreasing crazily. Almost every minute, it lost 5% of its health. -10,000. Critical. The dragon's stomp hit Aisha, who was dealing damage. Immediately, terrifying damage appeared above her head. Lorne was shocked. Who knew how powerful the dragon's attack was? It dealt 10,000 critical damage. If it were him, this would be enough to send him back to Iron Skull City. Fortunately, Aisha had 60,000 health points. Such damage could not make her lose her combat strength. Phantom Stealth. She disappeared into the darkness again and continued fighting the dragon after the skill cooldown was over. The demonized dragon that had not found its target opened its mouth and bit at the nearest Rimuru. -3713. In 2 bites, he dealt nearly 10,000 damage. Fortunately, such damage was useless against Rimuru. With 300,000 health points, it could even stand on the spot and fight the dragon for half a minute. Chapter 133, Dragon Slayer Achievement. With Rimuru blocking the damage, Aisha had no obstacle to continue dealing damage. Under the barrage of attacks, the demonized dragon's health decreased rapidly. Aisha's damage output was consistent. Whenever the skill cooldown ended, she would attack immediately. In just 2 seconds, she would unleash all her attacks. Although she only had 2 offensive skills, the damage she dealt could exceed 20,000 points. The demonized dragon only had 500,000 health points after all. Under such crazy attacks, these health points could not last long. In less than 5 minutes, the demonized dragon's health decreased to 250,000 points. Mortal, I will give you one last chance. As long as you are willing to submit to the feet of the great demon dragon, Walter, I will grant you powerful dragon language magic. Still dreaming, Walter tempted Lorne again. You might not know this, but ever since someone said this to me last time and I failed to beat them to death, I decided that if anyone says this again in the future, I'll definitely kill them. Lorne smiled coldly. He was not affected by the other party's words at all. In fact, because of this speech, he was encouraged. Under his command, the pets worked harder to deal damage. The blades and arrows poured down on the boss like a flood, quickly reducing its health. Health points, 50%. Health points, 30%. Health points, 10%. Health points, 5%. Soon, the demonized dragon was close to death. The entire battle was easier than Lorne had imagined. Although this demonized dragon was powerful, its movements were not agile. Against an opponent like Aisha, it could not fight back at all. Furthermore, with the help of other pets, the demonized dragon had no chance of winning. After 10 minutes, the boss was already covered in wounds, as if it was already at its limit. However, Lorne was not careless. Under normal circumstances, a special boss with 5% health would use a special skill. It was even more possible for a dragon at the level of Walter. Lorne let Aisha control the damage output. Only when the demonized dragon's health was reduced to 1% did he sigh in relief and approach the other party. This was a living dragon, so of course, Lorne would not kill it easily. As the leader of the dragons, Walter was extremely powerful. If he could subdue this dragon, then Lorne's strength would definitely rise to a level that other players could not reach. With that in mind, Lorne activated his talent. Buzz! A huge magic circle appeared as complicated and ancient magic runes began to appear around the dragon. Success! Lorne's eyes widened. But soon, the light in his eyes dissipated. The huge magic circle in front of him seemed to have a limit. When it enlarged to the limit, it stopped at that size. That magic circle could not completely turn the demonized dragon into light, so it shattered in the end. Lorne froze on the spot. This was the first time he had encountered such a situation. A synthesis array had clearly appeared just now, but the result was so unexpected. To be honest, Lorne was feeling mixed emotions. Fortunately, after a few failed attempts, he was not in a bad mood. After taking a deep breath, Lorne composed himself. Although he did not obtain the dragon pet this time, he had also defeated Walter. He believed that as the leader of the dragons, the reward would not be simple. Kill him, Aisha! Lorne ordered. Then, under a pair of sharp daggers, the demonized dragon's health points were completely emptied. Boom! Walter's huge body fell to the ground. After the undead power was defeated, he finally regained control of the body. But also because of the lack of undead power, Walter's body began to rapidly dry, like a balloon with a hole. At this moment, an incomparably grand voice suddenly sounded in the sky. Ding! Global announcement: congratulations to player Tyrant for successfully killing the Dragon Commander, Walter, and becoming the first adventurer to slay a dragon in the world. You have achieved the achievement of Dragon Slayer. You have done a great deed and are now in the annals of history. Congratulations player Tyrant for obtaining the achievement reward, free attribute points plus 100, Dragon Slayer, title. Dragon Slayer, title: a unique title that only the first adventurer to kill a dragon can obtain. When equipping this title, critical hit damage plus 100%. Including pets. Ding! Ding! The announcement for the achievement sounded 3 times. All the players in the world heard this news. When this announcement ended, another main city announcement appeared. Ding! Iron Skull City announcement: due to player Tyrant obtaining the Dragon Slayer title, all adventurers affiliated with Iron Skull City will enjoy the Baptism of Glory. Reward: free attribute point plus 1. Ding! Ding! The announcement of Iron Skull City was repeated 3 times. The great news made Lorne feel helpless. He was not a high-profile kid, but the system was always making such a fuss. It was too awesome. Doomsday Forest. Due to the previous declaration of war, everyone was paying attention to Lorne and Bloodthirsty. Many of them were very disgusted by the fact that Lorne had not appeared. They even slandered him on the forum. I think this tyrant is a coward. Bloodthirsty is so powerful, it's normal to be afraid. That's right. No matter how powerful a summoner is, he can't be a match for an assassin. I originally thought highly of him, but who knew that he would look like this? It's too disappointing. What a coward. He can't win but still insists on fighting in the regional channel. This is going to be a joke to all the players in the world. A group of players mocked and ridiculed in the forum. Only by joining a group that stood opposite to the public at this time could they display their superiority. This was the mindset of the internet trolls. Just as they were feeling smug, suddenly a grand voice sounded in everyone's ears. Ding! Global announcement: congratulations player Tyrant for successfully killing the Dragon Commander, Walter. Ding! Ding! Continuous global announcements sounded. All the players in the world could hear them. At this moment, the players who were mocking him closed their mouths. Their eyes widened as they looked at the announcement notification on the interface in disbelief. Chapter 134, An Important Plan of the Dark Guild. In a high-level energy area, at the headquarters of the Cross Coffin Guild. Cross Coffin was a guild that was highly connected to the country's military. They had chosen the Dark faction, wanting to use the opposing forces to avoid conflict with the other guilds. Not long after entering the Blood Shadow City, they discovered an epic-grade main storyline mission with the Netherworld Guild. Because of this mission, their Cross Coffin Guild was highly valued by the military and received a huge amount of funds. At this moment, in the headquarters of the base, Lieutenant Colonel Arthur arrived and took over all development authority regarding the mission. With the guidance and information of Lieutenant Colonel Arthur, they finally found the information regarding the mission. It turned out that the information regarding that epic mission was related to one of the 4 commanders of the ancient dragon race, Walter. Moreover, the place where he died was near the Lake of Death not far from Blood Shadow City. With this hard-earned information, Lieutenant Colonel Arthur immediately arranged for a scout team of more than 5,000 people. He made everyone disperse near the Lake of Death and requested that they investigate the entire region around the Lake of Death. But soon, they encountered huge difficulties. The bosses that appeared near the Lake of Death were too powerful. Their scouts suffered huge losses during the exploration. Moreover, just now, when they organized their people to enter a valley to explore the interior, they encountered a pseudo-dragon boss that could not be seen. In less than half a minute, their team of more than 100 people was wiped out. This result made the guild members somewhat depressed. Don't worry about your levels. All the scouts will receive $1,000 in economic subsidies if they lose a level during the mission. Lieutenant Colonel Arthur said confidently. At that moment, suddenly, a golden banner appeared on the large screen in the conference room, and the grand announcement filled the entire conference room. Ding! Global announcement: congratulations player Tyrant for successfully killing the Dragon Commander, Walter. The grand voice echoed for several minutes. When they heard this news, the higher UPS in the guild room were shocked. Lieutenant Colonel Arthur looked at the people from the Netherworld Guild mockingly and said, "Didn't you send a deputy guild leader to kill that player called Tyrant? Now that he has received the full server announcement, you still don't have a clue what happened." Everyone looked at Lieutenant Colonel Arthur. If not for their fear of the other party's identity, they would definitely look at him as if he was an idiot. The upper echelon of the Cross Coffin Guild sitting nearby leaned over and reminded him. "What?" Lieutenant Colonel Arthur slammed the table and stood up, shouting, "The mission target was killed by Tyrant." Only then did he notice the key information on the announcement. That player called Tyrant had killed the dragon, Walter. Didn't that mean that their mission was impossible to complete? Thinking of this, Lieutenant Colonel Arthur was furious. He roared at everyone, "Aren't you the strongest dark faction organization? You can't even do such a small thing. You're useless. I think the 100,000 players of your two guilds are not elites at all. They are just pigs. No, even hundreds of thousands of pigs would not allow an ordinary player to kill our mission NPC like that." Hearing Lieutenant Colonel Arthur's cursing, everyone present was unwilling to accept it, because during this period of time, it was almost always that guy who was directly responsible for commanding. Now that something happened, he actually pushed all the blame to them. Although they thought so, no one dared to say anything. They could only let the other party reprimand them. Only when Lieutenant Colonel Arthur was tired of cursing did the higher UPS of the Netherworld Guild speak. "Calm down, sir. Although the boss was killed by the other party, it does not mean that there is no hope for this mission. Perhaps that dragon, Walter, is only a clue. Moreover, based on our understanding of the game, even if the main NPCs of large missions are accidentally killed, special mission items will drop. Even if they don't, other NPCs will know about it." Hearing this, Lieutenant Colonel Arthur's anger dissipated, but his expression was still cold. He immediately ordered, "Inform everyone to find Tyrant and obtain all the items and information regarding the dragon, Walter, and the divine equipment on him. In addition, inform our agents in the various base cities. Their first priority now is to investigate Tyrant's true identity. Once they find out, we will immediately control him. If the other party does not accept our recruitment, we will directly kill him." Yes. Near the Lake of Death. Due to a direct conversation with Tyrant a few days ago, Bloodthirsty had temporarily given up on the guild players in Iron Skull City. However, when he approached the Lake of Death in high spirits, he realized the danger in this area. Fortunately, the people beside him were all powerful assassins. With their agility, they could still walk safely in this area. In addition, he also informed the guild players who were doing other missions in the Lake of Death. As long as someone discovered Tyrant's trail, they would inform him immediately. "Tyrant, do you think you'll be fine if you hide from me? Stop dreaming. I'll use these few days to spread the name of the Netherworld Guild across the world." Bloodthirsty quickly moved through the forest with the dagger in hand. Although he had not really found Tyrant's location, he was not angry because he had other goals. On the contrary, he was in a good mood. But at that moment, a grand voice sounded. Ding! Global announcement: congratulations player Tyrant for successfully killing the Dragon Commander, Walter. Ding! Ding! The announcement was repeated 3 times. Bloodthirsty almost spat out a mouthful of blood. Damn! I thought you were hiding, but you're secretly killing a dragon. Bloodthirsty was furious. One had to know that he treated the other party as an opponent, but this guy was so casual and did not take him seriously at all. It was unforgivable. As the announcement stopped, his friend list suddenly lit up. After hearing the guild leader's story, Bloodthirsty realized that Tyrant had such a huge grudge with their guild. Moreover, the killed dragon was an important NPC for the epic main storyline mission. This was a huge matter. Even if Bloodthirsty had never participated in the operation of the guild, at this critical moment, he could not ignore it. After all, this concerned the cooperation between the guild and the military. At this moment, the assassin player beside him ran up excitedly and said, "Boss, we seem to have discovered Tyrant's location." "Where is he?" "In the canyon towards the northwest." "Tyrant, let's see where you can hide now." Bloodthirsty immediately sent a message to all the assassins. Soon, a large team of more than 100 elite assassins rushed towards the canyon. Chapter 135, Platinum Grade Equipment, Protection Barrier. Ding! Congratulations on killing the Dragon Commander, Walter. EXP plus 50,000, 112,500. When the announcement ended, Lorne received another notification. After killing the demonized dragon, he gained 162,500 experience points. To ordinary players, this was a huge number, but it was not of much use to Lorne. Just leveling up Aisha required 1.4 million experience points. These hundreds of thousands of experience points were indeed not worth paying attention to. Lorne closed the notification panel and looked at the announcement panel. Killing the demonized dragon had given him an achievement and an extremely rare title. Dragon Slayer. Type, Title. Grade, Legendary. Attributes, None. Special Effect, Critical Hit Damage plus 100%. Including pets. Unique Effect, Fighting Spirit of the Dragon Slayer, deals an additional 10% damage to all dragon-type creatures. Introduction, only the first adventurer who kills a dragon can obtain this unique title. Damn, it actually increases damage to dragons by 10%. Lorne looked at the title's attributes and was shocked. This was a percentage-based increase in damage. As it was only 10%, it could only deal dozens of extra damage in the early stages of the game. However, this was a special effect that could accompany him for the rest of his gaming life. When he reached level 100, when the damage of his attacks exceeded 100,000, combined with the critical hit and other amplification effects, the final amplification was extremely terrifying. Although this effect could only work on dragon-type monsters, it still excited Lorne. Of course, the true value of this title was beyond that. To Lorne, the effect of increasing critical damage by 100% was the greatest value of this title. Because it could be amplified on pets, its value increased by 10 or even 100 times. At the very least, that was the case in Lorne's eyes. To him, this was not a legendary title, but a mythical title. Angel's Wings provide 100% critical damage. Coupled with the Dragon Slayer title, the total damage is increased by 200%. Lorne calculated. Yes, as a mythical equipment, the critical hit attribute increase of the Angel's Wings could also be effective on pets. In this case, the pets could also deal 4 times the critical damage. If Aisha dealt damage, her skill that had a 100% critical hit rate would definitely receive the critical damage amplification. As long as she attacked, she could instantly deal more than 4.5 times the damage. As for Lorne himself, if he used Angel's Descent, he would be able to deal 7 times the damage. Just fantasizing about it made him feel extremely comfortable. Then, he looked at the dying Walter. He could no longer support himself and fell to the ground weakly. The flesh on his body gradually weathered. Countless loot scattered on the ground. Lorne put away the loot. The final loot was gold coins, 11. Silver grade, 5 items. Gold grade, 2 items. 17 silver grade enhancement gems and 5 gold grade enhancement gems. 25 Blessing Gems. In addition, there were a few special gems with runes on the ground. Enchantment Gem. Attribute, Fire. Effect, Attack plus 10. Introduction, it is an equipment enchantment that allows the equipment to gain a special magic effect. Every time the equipment is enchanted, the equipment's attributes will be increased. The effect of this gem was very similar to that of the Enhancement Gem. However, the Enhancement Gem increased the attributes of the equipment by a percentage, and the Enchantment Gem added additional fixed attributes to the equipment. The only huge difference was that equipment enchantment could be used infinitely, while enhancement could only be used 10 times. In addition, enchantment gems had different effects. Fire equals attack/magic attack. Metal equals armor penetration. Wood equals HP. Water equals MP. Earth equals physical/magic resistance. There were roughly 5 types of enchantment gems. The enchantment gem in Lorne's hand was of the fire attribute, so its effect was to increase attack power. One enchantment could increase attack or magic attack by 10 points. If he could enchant it 100 times, then even a white iron equipment could have attributes that surpassed gold equipment. Of course, this was almost impossible. According to the explanation given by the system, the number of times the equipment could be enchanted had a lot to do with the quality of the equipment itself. When an equipment was only a white iron equipment, it could not be enchanted more than 10 times. If this equipment was lucky enough to succeed 10 times, and you continued to enchant it, it would completely collapse and become a pile of useless items with no attributes. Indeed, games are best experienced by the rich. Lorne could almost foresee that when everyone looted enchantment gems in the future, rich players would definitely crazily enchant their equipment. At that time, the difference in strength between the players would be huge. Lorne put away all the gems. As he was picking up the last gem, his gaze was suddenly attracted by a glowing object under the dragon's body. This is... Lorne stepped forward and pulled out the suppressed glowing object. Surprisingly, this was a very strange equipment. Protection Barrier. Grade, Platinum. Attribute 1, plus 3000 HP. Attribute 2, plus 300 Defense. Special Effect, activate the equipment to form an energy shield with a range of 5x5 yards. It can block the approaching targets and their attacks. Duration, 30 seconds. Durability, 30% of the user's HP. When durability reaches 0, energy shield will be unusable. Type, external equipment. Level, 30. Introduction. This was an external equipment. Lorne felt that the surprise came too suddenly, exceeding his expectations. Perhaps many rookie players did not know what external equipment was, but Lorne knew very well. External equipment was a special equipment apart from ordinary equipment and rare parts. The only special thing about this equipment was that it did not require an equipment slot. For example, if this equipment was worn on the arm, it would conflict with the wrist guard. Under normal circumstances, when one obtained another pair of equipment that needed to be equipped on the arm, they had to remove their original equipment and vacate their spots to wear them. But external equipment did not have that restriction. It could be used together with wrist guard equipment. Like in Lorne's case, as long as he chose to use it, it would turn into a light that poured into his wrist guard. From the outside, the wrist guard did not change. However, only Lorne knew that the platinum grade equipment had made his health points reach 10,000. One had to know, he was only a summoner. Despite wearing level 10 equipment and not adding any points to Constitution, his health was still close to 10,000 points. This was an unbelievable attributes panel. Chapter 136, Legendary Talent Master of Experience. Ding! System notification, your equipment Angel's Wings has detected a main body fragment. Would you like to summon it? Suddenly, the game notification sounded. Lorne also saw that the only mythical equipment in his inventory was glowing. Summon. Lorne immediately made his choice. In the next second, a huge light burst out from his back, and the angel's wings automatically appeared. At the same time, immense magic power blossomed from the angel's wings and shone a holy light on Walter. Soon, the light sucked out a black blood-stained feather from Walter. The feather was in the same state as the first one Lorne had obtained last time. Before Lorne could examine it further, the feather turned into a white energy that poured into the angel's wings. Ding! Congratulations on absorbing a portion of the original energy of your equipment angel's wings. You have received an equipment upgrade. Congratulations on successfully increasing the attributes of your equipment angel's wings. The game notification sounded. Lorne checked the attributes of the equipment and found that its attributes had been greatly increased. Its original attributes were 2x, all attributes. But now, its attributes were 3x, all attributes. According to Lorne's current level, the attributes this equipment brought him were 90 points, all attributes. The players had 5 attributes. After calculating it, he gained a total of 450 points from this equipment. Before leveling up, the attributes that this equipment brought to Lorne were only 300 points. In other words, just by leveling up once, Lorne had obtained 150 free attribute points. It's still considered a fragment now. Lorne looked at the equipment again and realized that it was still a fragment. It had not recovered completely because of this fusion. This was good news for Lorne. This meant that the angel's wings had a higher limit. If he could completely restore this equipment to its complete state, he believed that the attributes that would be given to him in the end would be very astonishing. Lorne took a deep breath to calm himself. Then, he looked at the dragon, Walter. The dragon's body died. It was as if it had undergone 1,000 years of change. Its original flesh and blood body had turned into a rotting skeleton. This should be the main reason why it could not be edited into a pet. Lorne sighed. At the same time, he saw a milky white soul floating out from the rotting skeleton. It was Walter's soul. After 1,000 years, I'm finally free. Walter was very excited. Although what awaited him was death, he was still very happy. It was because he had been tortured for 1,000 years. Moreover, in this 1,000 years, his soul had to be constantly vigilant and could not slack off. Otherwise, in the moment of relaxation, that evil power would invade his consciousness. He originally thought that he was really going to fall into darkness this time. Fortunately, the arrival of this human adventurer freed him from the invasion of the undead power. Even death was an extremely happy thing for him. Human adventurer, I heard that you were entrusted by the dragon god to come here. Did the dragon god foresee my situation and specially send you to help me? Walter looked at Lorne expectantly. No, Lorne shook his head mercilessly. The dragon of light only asked me to collect the dragon souls, that's all. I've disappointed the dragon god. Walter's expression turned dim. To a dragon, degenerating into a demonic dragon is a great humiliation, not to mention that I'm one of the commanders of the Radiant Church. You don't have to blame yourself. Lorne looked at him and said, in that war, all those who fought for the light were the most heroic warriors. The dragon god will be proud of you. Thank you for your comfort, young human adventurer. Walter said, although it was a coincidence that you saved me this time, I still have to thank you for your help. Originally, I wanted to give you a very high-level hidden class, but now that you are following the dragon god, I believe that he has long chosen a more legendary path for you. Your future achievements will definitely surpass mine. Aren't you thinking too much? At this moment, Lorne wanted to say this, for the Dragon of Light had not prepared anything for him. Divine Radiance was a special power. Could it be considered a hidden class? Lorne felt hopeful. After all, the other party had described this power as something amazing. If it could not raise his strength in all aspects, then the power of this Divine Radiance was too weak. Sir Walter, since you can't give me a hidden class, shouldn't you give me some other rewards? Lorne asked bluntly. There was no need to be polite to NPCs. After all, equipment was just a pile of data in their hands. It was up to them to give as much as they could. Of course, young human warrior, I have discovered that you have many high potential followers around you. Their experience requirement is too high, causing your leveling speed to be limited. So, let me help you with that. Walter shot a light into Lorne. The next second, his game interface popped up, and a notification sounded. Ding! Congratulations on obtaining the blessing of the divine power of Dragon Commander Walter. Talent, Master of Experience. Master of Experience. Grade, Legendary. Effect, with this talent, your EXP gained will increase by 100%. Damn! This was a legendary talent. To the players, talent skills were the most difficult to obtain. Almost 90% of players would only have their initial talent at the later stages of the game. As for awakening a new talent, this was a very difficult thing. Other than completing a special mission, it was basically impossible. He did not expect Walter to give a new talent skill, a legendary one at that. Experience gained increases by 100%. Will this effect work together with my experience bonus as a summoner? As a summoner, Lorne had an additional 225% experience bonus. If the effect of this talent could stack it, he would gain 225% additional experience points. Unfortunately, there were no other monsters here, so Lorne could only put aside his desire to test it. Young human adventurer, this reward is not enough to express my gratitude to you, so I still want to give you other treasures. Walter said, dragons like jewelry and also have the most exquisite investigative ability in the world. This ability can help us find rich mining areas and divide them into mining areas. We can dig up all the underground minerals and use them to decorate our dragon nest. Now, I give you this ability. I hope it can help you effectively. With that, Walter flapped his dragon wings, and a light shone on Lorne. Ding! Congratulations on obtaining the shared talent of Dragon Commander Walter. You have received talent, Treasure Seeking. Chapter 137, Massive Reward. Treasure Hunting. Grade, Legendary. Effect, can discover underground mineral resources within a certain range. Introduction, a natural ability of the purebred dragons. Walter is even more extraordinary in this aspect. If you have his treasure-seeking ability, you will be able to find all the minerals underground. Seeing this, Lorne did not know how to express his emotions. Who would have thought that in just a few seconds, he would obtain another talent? Moreover, this was another legendary talent. Unlike the previous experience bonus, this talent's effect was to detect the surrounding mineral veins. In terms of use, its value was definitely higher than the EXP bonus. This was an incredible talent. If the NPCs in Iron Skull City knew that Lorne could detect the exact location of mines, they would definitely treat him as the most important adventurer in Iron Skull City and enjoy the highest treatment. Of course, he could not rule out the possibility that they would capture and force him to work for them. After all, to a faction, methods that could survey mineral resources were absolute nuclear weapons. Therefore, Lorne did not want to reveal his ability to the public. As a new generation youth who had undergone 9 years of compulsory education, he knew the true value of this talent. Perhaps to individual players, it was not useful in increasing their strength. But if one needed to build their own faction in the future, this talent would grant them endless wealth in their territory. Seeing that he had another talent, Lorne was completely immersed in joy. He thought that was the end of the reward. But at this moment, Walter spoke again. Young human adventurer, I have noticed that you have a unique charisma that attracts many creatures with powerful potential to follow you. This is a natural requirement for a great leader. I also hope that you can go further down this path. With that, Walter shot out another stream of light. With that, a light poured over Lorne. Ding! Congratulations on obtaining the blessing of the divine power of Dragon Commander Walter. Pet space +1. Heavens! Seeing the reward, Lorne did not know what to say. This dragon was really generous. Not only did it give Lorne 2 legendary talents, but it also gave him a pet space. As a powerful summoner, Lorne really needed more pet spaces to strengthen himself. However, the experience of leveling up his pets now was a little unbearable for Lorne. Adding up all the experience points needed by his pets, it was about 200 times that of his own. In other words, if others needed 10,000 experience points to level up, Lorne would need 2 million experience points. This was a terrifying number. Therefore, after considering this, Lorne decided that his 7th pet would no longer be a boss-level pet. This was because the EXP needed to level up a boss-level pet was too high. From the overall strength of the current team, the 7th pet only needed to be responsible for dealing damage. If he considered it this way, it would be best to create a mage-type pet. Simply because magic was the type of damage that the team currently lacked. Lorne already had some thoughts. At this moment, the dragon, Walter, was extremely weak. Its soul gradually dimmed and was already at the edge of dissipating. Then, young human adventurer, please accept my final blessing of divine power. With that, Walter flapped his wings again, and golden light poured down. Ding! Congratulations on obtaining the blessing of Dragon Commander Walter, divine power +10. Congratulations on obtaining Dragon Commander Walter's gift, Water Dragon Crystal X1. Congratulations on obtaining the gift of Dragon Commander Walter, Dragon's Reverse Scale, Damaged, X1. Congratulations on obtaining the gift of Dragon Commander Walter, Dragon Bone Fragment, Damaged, X21. Congratulations on obtaining Dragon Commander Walter's gift, Dragon Horn X1. Congratulations on obtaining the recognition of Dragon Commander Walter, Dragon Race of Order Reputation and 3100. At this moment, a series of system rewards appeared. Looking at the information that flashed in front of him, Lorne's eyes brimmed with tears. This dragon was too good to him. Not to mention the previous rewards, just the conventional rewards were much more than the other dragons. This made Lorne's divine power rise to 36 points. In addition, Lorne obtained a dragon crystal and a dragon horn. Although he did not know the specific use of the water dragon crystal for the time being, as a complete legendary material, it was definitely priceless. As for the dragon horn, it was in a similar state as the dragon scale and had lost its strength. However, it was considered a complete body part. If he used it to create monsters, he believed that the final result would be 10 or even 100 times better than the dragon's scale. Young human adventurer, my soul is about to dissipate, but I have an important piece of information to tell you. Lorne had almost used the dragon's treasure vault, but he dismissed the thought after hearing it. From this sentence, he could tell that the other party had a special hidden mission. Lord Walter, if there's anything, just say it. It's like this. Walter slowly explained everything he knew. His voice became weaker and weaker, clearly at the end of his life. That's the specific situation. All right, young human adventurer, I'm going to leave this world. I've been corroded by the undead power for 1,000 years. It's time for me to truly be free. With that, the soul of the dragon, Walter, was about to dissipate. At this moment, Lorne quickly said, Lord Walter, I have something else to ask of you. What is it? It's nothing much. It's just the gems in this cave. Can you give them to me as a reward? Anyway, you won't need them in the future. Lorne pointed at the wall. The gems on it were glowing. It was obvious from their appearance that they were of high quality. These night pearls were collected from the surrounding mountains when I had a premonition of my death. They are very precious gems, but they have accompanied me for 1,000 years and can be considered to have completed their mission. In that case, I'll give them all to you. I hope these gems can help you in the future. In addition, I noticed a group of fallen dark assassins gathered around. Although they are many in number, as an adventurer valued by the dragon god, you can definitely defeat them easily. Goodbye, young man. With a final farewell, the dragon, Walter, flapped its wings. Instantly, the cave rumbled, and all the gems turned to light as they entered Lorne's bag. His body gradually dissipated at the last moment. Without hesitation, Lorne used the dragon's treasure vault to take away the other party's soul and the weathered body. Chapter 138, Dark Assassin's Ambush. Ding! Congratulations on obtaining the gift of the dragon, Walter. Night Pearl plus 5,000. Congratulations on obtaining the mission item, Dragon Soul. Congratulations on obtaining the mission item, Dragon Skeleton. To his surprise, there were more than 5,000 night pearls in the cave. Moreover, these night pearls were very rare materials. As an ornament valued by the dragons, the night pearls were also extraordinary in other races. But now was not the time to talk about this. Walter had given Lorne a warning. It turned out that there were already many assassin players from the dark faction lurking around this place. If nothing unexpected happened, it should be the team led by Bloodthirsty. Lorne put the dragon skeleton into his bag and walked out of the cave. Opening the map, he could see a large number of red dots. In Divine Realm, every red dot on the map represented a target of the enemy camp. Therefore, there should be more than 300 to 400 high-level assassins lurking near this map. Fortunately, he was under the cliff. Those assassins did not dare to rashly come down from the cliff. After all, they did not have the flying equipment Angel's wings. If they failed, they would directly fall to their death. Interesting. Lorne was not worried. On the contrary, he smiled. Since the other party was so friendly, he should arrange a different surprise for them. Aisha, go up first. Those assassins are hiding near these rocks. Once the battle begins, small artillery and venom will use their AoE skills to cover these two spots. As he climbed the vines, Lorne made the most thorough plan. Gosh, is Tyrant really down there? That's right. Our people saw him enter this canyon with their own eyes and did not leave. As long as he did not go offline, he must still be in this canyon. We've checked the surroundings of the canyon but haven't found him. If he's still in the canyon, he should be under this abyss. How long do we have to wait? Don't be anxious. In order to ensure that nothing goes wrong, we've called all our friends here. At that time, thousands of people will surround and kill him. Even if Tyrant has a pair of wings, he won't be able to escape. Near the cliff, among the rocks, hundreds of players were hiding behind the rocks. Above their heads, the prefix of the Netherworld Guild was hanging. Clearly, they were from the same faction as Bloodthirsty. Because they had not seen their target for a long time, everyone was in a more relaxed state. Just as they were chatting happily, an invisible figure quickly got up from the vines and pulled out a dagger from its waist, infiltrating the army of assassins. Slash! A cold dagger slashed through the neck of a player. In an instant, the player became a white soul. In the sky, there was a terrifying damage number. -16,000, critical. This was a 5-digit amount of damage. The surrounding assassin players were all stunned. Their pupils dilated countless times, and they could not believe their eyes. Before they could react, another player nearby was killed. This time, it was still a critical hit. As for the assassin who attacked them, the moment it attacked, it disappeared into the darkness again. This speed was astonishing, so fast that no one could see its appearance. It's Tyrant's elf assassin. The dead players could not speak, but they could use their friend information function to inform everyone of the information on their combat panel. When they heard this information, the assassin group panicked. Many people were afraid because they were assassins and knew very well how terrifying permanent invisibility was. A few days ago, their deputy guild leader Bloodthirsty had killed all the elite players of the large guilds in the Doomsday Forest because of a skill that could continuously turn him invisible. But now, such an opponent had suddenly appeared in front of them, so they were naturally afraid. However, before they could think of a solution, countless fireballs suddenly appeared in the sky and poured down on their camp like cannonballs. Boom! 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 All the assassins in the range were injured, losing more than half of their health. But that was not the worst of it. Worst of all, they could not turn invisible. If they could not turn invisible at this time, wouldn't they be a live target for the elf assassin? Aisha moved at an extremely fast speed in the center of the players. The dagger in her hand was like the scythe of the death god, harvesting the life of a player almost every second. Ding! You have been attacked by the enemy faction player Tyrant. You have received 16,000 damage. You have been attacked by the enemy faction player Tyrant. You have received 17,100 damage. You have been attacked by the enemy faction player Tyrant. You have received 15,900 damage. You have been attacked by the enemy faction player Tyrant. You have received 16,500 damage. These powerful top assassins were inexplicably injured, and it was a fatal wound. The critical damage was as high as 16,000. Even if they had 3 lives, they could not withstand it. Damn it! Tyrant is there. As long as we kill Tyrant, his pets will die together. Brothers, let's attack together. Everyone, attack! Kill Tyrant! They were all experienced assassins, so they naturally knew how to deal with a summoner player. No matter how powerful a pet was, if its master was killed, the pet would naturally disappear. Thinking about this, the assassin players who had recovered from their shock looked at Lorne, who was climbing up. Woof, woof, woof. At that moment, hundreds of hellhounds appeared beside Lorne. These summoned hellhounds only had a quarter of Lorne's attributes and had about 2,500 health points. To high-level assassins like them, they were not difficult opponents. However, the problem was that killing these hellhounds required time. On this battlefield, any second was precious, especially when there was an extremely terrifying assassin mixed in the crowd. Her dagger was so terrifying that before one could even see her clearly, their life would already be taken away by it. Chapter 139, Rapid Defeat. Ding! Battle notification: Light faction player Tyrant has terminated the Dark faction player Netherworld Underpants. He has received 150 Light faction reputation points. Battle notification: Light faction player Tyrant has terminated the Dark faction player Netherworld Eating Burger. He has received 110 Light faction reputation points. Battle notification: Light faction player Tyrant has terminated the Dark faction player Netherworld I Love Vodka. He has received 170 Light faction reputation points. Battle notification: Light faction player Tyrant has terminated the Dark faction player Netherworld Wealthy Young Master. He has received 210 Light faction reputation points. Battle notification: How could the players called by Bloodthirsty to surround and kill Tyrant be ordinary people? In the Doomsday Forest, they had also killed a large number of players. After killing dozens of players, they had a bounty on them. As long as they were killed by players from the enemy camp, they would lose a large amount of reputation points. However, there was something special about it, which was that they would not lose an additional level. In the game Divine Realm, killing players would result in a red name. Moreover, this system was very strict. As long as one had sin values, when they died, they would receive punishment in the form of reduced experience points. Typically, every 5 more points of sin would result in an additional loss of 1 level after death. For example, at least half of the players in this canyon had recently killed 10 players. Originally, after their death, they had to lose at least 3 or 4 levels. However, it was different this time. Although the players from the opposing faction that Lorne killed had sin points, they would not receive the red name punishment after death. The only punishment for them now was their reputation points. After they were killed by Lorne, the faction reputation points gained during the event would be emptied. As for Lorne, he would obtain half of the faction reputation points they lost. Therefore, it could be seen that his faction reputation was rising crazily. In just a few seconds, it had reached a height of several thousand. As for the assassins who charged at him, they were all stalled by the hellhounds. Lorne did not have to worry about his safety. Even if someone rushed forward, they would be harvested by the scythe-like legs of his new pet, Little Spider. Although this little guy was not even level 10, its attributes were very high. Under the enhancement of its skills, it was not a big deal to deal with a few level 20 assassin players. Ding! Regional announcement: Light faction player Tyrant has killed 100 players in a row. He is on a killing spree. After killing 100 assassin players, the regional announcement sounded. Like before, all the players in the ruins of the war could see it. When the players from the Light faction saw this news, the entire chat channel was in an uproar. Gosh! Tyrant encountered that group of dark assassins. Boss Tyrant is awesome. I'm kneeling to God Tyrant now. Killing 100 dark assassins is much harder than killing players in the Doomsday Forest. Indeed. Assassins are hard to deal with to begin with, not to mention that these assassins like to act in groups. Individual players, or even teams, are no match for them. Who said that God Tyrant is afraid? Come out. That's right, a bunch of cowards. You shouted so happily 2 days ago, why don't you dare to show your face now? If they dare to show their faces, I'll smash them with my club. Let's see if there's a pile of feces inside. The players from the Light faction retaliated crazily. They seemed to have vented their anger and were extremely happy. In fact, it was normal for them to be so excited. After all, they had been attacked by the assassin groups of the Dark faction a few days ago and had not organized an effective counterattack, causing the other party to laugh at the players of Iron Skull City on the internet. Coupled with the fact that Tyrant had been avoiding battle for the past few days, it fueled the bastard's arrogance. It could be imagined how angry the players of the Light faction were. The regional announcement finally gave them a chance to counterattack. Therefore, it could be seen that the entire chat channel, the game forum, and even the real-life news platform were crazily posting related comments. At this moment, suddenly, another system notification sounded. Ding! Regional announcement: Light faction player Tyrant has terminated the super massacre of the Dark faction player Bloodthirsty. He has received 9,000 Light faction reputation points. Regional announcement: Light faction player Tyrant has terminated the super massacre of the Dark faction player Bloodthirsty. He has received 9,000 Light faction reputation points. The sudden regional announcement stunned all the players from the Light faction. Just now, they had thought that Tyrant had encountered the other party for a long time. Now, he might be surrounded by the Dark assassins and attacked by Bloodthirsty. They were all worried that when Tyrant faced the assassin group, if he was hit by Bloodthirsty's sneak attack, it might only take a second before everything ended. However, who would have thought that before everyone could discuss this matter, Tyrant, who was fighting in a certain map, had already killed Bloodthirsty, who left everyone helpless. What happened? Bloodthirsty is dead? My God, how is this possible? Who has a video of the scene? I want to see it. How did he die? Bloodthirsty is a world-class assassin. How could he be killed so easily? All the players were crazy. Even the higher UPS of the large guilds were surprised. Because not long ago, they had fought Bloodthirsty. Everyone knew the strength of the other party. However, such an opponent that everyone was helpless against had actually suddenly died amidst the encirclement. This was truly too unbelievable. Chapter 140, Dumbfounded Bloodthirsty. In the canyon of the Lake of Death. Tyrant. Die. In the chaotic battlefield, a dark figure hid in the darkness. Unlike other assassins, he had left the team a long time ago and was not restrained by the pets and summoned monsters. He drew the dagger from his waist and quickly closed in on Lorne. When the two were close enough, he attacked brazenly. His cold dagger turned, and an incomparably sharp black energy shot out from the blade. This was Bloodthirsty's sure kill skill with a stun effect that lasted for 2.5 seconds. Dark Gouge. The dagger in Bloodthirsty's hand stabbed down, determined to kill with one strike. As long as this slash hit, no matter how much health Tyrant had, he was confident that he could be killed instantly. At this moment, Bloodthirsty was so confident. This was because the target in front of him did not notice his attack, nor did it have the ability to. After all, his invisibility and proximity were so perfect. Excitement flashed in Bloodthirsty's eyes. He even felt that he had seen the goddess of victory waving at him. Slash! The dagger stabbed down, but Bloodthirsty was stunned. It failed. Bloodthirsty held the dagger in his hand and was stunned. He had not expected that his attack would fail. This was impossible for him. This was because he had the Ghost Shadow necklace. This equipment gave him a powerful invisibility ability. Not only was it difficult to detect, but he could also use multiple layers of invisibility. After activating the active skill, he could even attack while invisible. With this ability, he could come and go as he pleased in the encirclement of large guilds. He even assassinated several deputy guild leaders of large guilds among a group of experts. After countless battles, Bloodthirsty firmly believed that no player could find his trail. Even if it was a player whose level was higher than his, it was impossible. But now, he had failed. Are you confused, young man? Lorne looked at the air beside him and smiled. Brother, you seriously smell? You were 3 meters away from me but I could already feel you. Body odor? No, I have a special cloak that eliminates smell. Bloodthirsty sniffed himself in confusion, then suddenly realized that there was no odor. It was obvious that the other party was playing with him. Damn tyrant, how dare you fool me? I'll kill and send you back to the beginner village. Bloodthirsty went berserk. He activated the active skill of the necklace and his body disappeared into the darkness again. This time, the invisibility effect was stronger, and it could also allow him to attack the target while in stealth mode. Young people don't listen to advice. Looks like I can only educate you with force. Lorne shook his head and smiled, then took out his short staff and threw it in one direction. Pfft! The short staff struck something. -487. He dealt very low damage but an extremely insulting number appeared. Although Lorne's level was very high, he had not added any intelligence previously, so his magic attack was not high, especially since he had not changed his equipment for a long time, causing his magic attack to not exceed 1000 points. Therefore, without any offensive skills, this was the highest basic attack damage that he could deal. Bloodthirsty was dumbfounded. His health was not in danger, but he could not understand why the other party could see him. He had clearly used the necklace's active skill. About that, Lorne wanted to say that it was all because the dragon, Walter, had been too good to him. With his current methods, it was indeed difficult to discover the invisible Bloodthirsty. Under normal circumstances, he would be attacked by the Bloodthirsty and might lose the death substitution necklace. The moment the other party appeared, Lorne's pets had to capture and kill him. Unfortunately, all of this was ruined by Walter. When reminding Lorne that there was an ambush, he also let him see the assassin player's location, displayed as the red dots on the map. It was also because of this that Lorne could find traces of Bloodthirsty. Although his stealth and evasion skills were perfect, his location was clearly seen on Lorne's map. Young man, see how powerful my pet's 8 legs are. Lorne did not plan to give the other party a chance to recover. If the kid escaped, it would be extremely difficult to capture him again. Therefore, the moment he hit the other party, Lorne also controlled Little Spider and the long-tongued bat that guarded him. The small spider was only level 8 now, but because of its powerful basic attributes, its attack power had reached 2,550 points. Moreover, Bloodthirsty was only level 22, so the level suppression effect was only 40%. To be honest, such damage mitigation was not enough to let Bloodthirsty resist the damage of Little Spider. As for the long-tongued bat, it was slightly weaker, but because it was level 20 and had the flying characteristics, its ability to attack on the battlefield was excellent. Under Lorne's command, the two pets quickly entangled Bloodthirsty. Although he was still invisible, Lorne used the map to easily grasp his location and had his pets restrict his movements. Swish! 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 Little Spider's sickle-like long legs attacked Bloodthirsty like a storm. -1055. -1021. -1037. Terrifying damage numbers appeared above Bloodthirsty's head. As an assassin player and a top expert in the world, Bloodthirsty was confident in his skills, so he did not add any constitution points. Therefore, his health was only 3,500 points now. Fortunately, he had drunk a bottle of potion when he was attacked just now. Otherwise, he would already be dead. How could this be? Looking at his health points that instantly evaporated, Bloodthirsty was dumbfounded. His damage output could also instantly deal thousands of damage, but this pet that could only deal 1,000 points of damage was the weakest among Tyrant's pets? In other words, he could not even defeat the weakest pet of the other party. Was this the true difference between the two? Previously, he had naively thought that Tyrant had not appeared because he was afraid of his strength. Now that he thought about it, it was really funny. With Tyrant's current strength, he probably did not treat him, a so-called top assassin in the world, as an opponent. Tyrant, I have to admit that you are very powerful now. But I, Bloodthirsty, will definitely not let this go. I will definitely return to take revenge on you and defeat you with my own hands. At the last moment, he looked at Lorne with a bloodthirsty expression, as if he wanted to remember his appearance. How naive of you! Lorne scoffed. He did not know what this Bloodthirsty was thinking. Had he not seen the difference between the two sides? Not to mention the legendary assassin Aisha, he could not even defeat this little spider beside him. How was he supposed to take revenge? Young people really knew no fear. While Lorne was speechless, his gaze landed on the spot where Bloodthirsty had fallen. There was a necklace that glowed black and red. It seemed extraordinary. A